As the holiday season draws near, another season is on the way, and college football fans may be very excited for it. That's right, it's officially bowl season. And boy, do we have exciting matchups coming your way. I'm Matt Becker, joined alongside Bronwyn, Liber, and Jackson Tortone, and we're going to discuss a little bit of controversy before we start made by the College Football Selection Committee. The undefeated ACC champions, Florida State Seminoles, were ranked just outside of the playoff picture, and what do you guys think about it?
It was certainly a very controversial pick for sure, as we've seen all over the headlines. Honestly, just life-changing for a lot of these athletes, and that's why I have to be sad. I think in the end, the committee made the right decision for a handful of reasons, but I still feel so heartbroken for a multitude of those athletes. Florida State is not as high-ridden on the football end as, say, Bama, say, Georgia, and all that. So kids who are looking to go to the NFL, to maybe transfer, they don't get as many looks at. So they did what they were supposed to. They did what they were told of. They went to the gym. They went to the field. They showed up on game day. They won. They went 13-0. They did everything that was asked of them, and they were cut short, which makes me heartbroken for so many of them. But at the end of the day, when you're looking for the best four football teams to go into the college football playoffs, I don't know, especially with injuries, if they fit that. After Georgia TCU blowout last year, I feel like the committee felt they couldn't go for another short year of just seeing a blowout, and that's what Florida State unfortunately probably would have been. I mean, we'll get a look at that, but we'll talk about that later. But in the sense of like, just they had to play safe. And cutting Bama short, it gave TCU the spot over Bama last year. Bama beat Georgia, the two-time Natty defending champions. They had to put Bama in, and ultimately, I understand why they put Florida at 5, but nonetheless, I'm very heartbroken for those athletes.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. No Jordan Travis, no playoffs. I mean, they just did not have the strength of schedule to be able to be a justification to get into playoffs in the first place. They would have gotten killed by any team, any of those top four, and I believe they're going to get killed by Georgia, but that's something for later.
Well, I see both sides of the argument, and I don't really have an opinion on it, but I just feel awful for the players, no matter what. Now, let's get into our New Year's Six bowl games. Up first, it's the Oregon Ducks against the, I'm sorry, is that a typo? No, it isn't. Liberty Flames? Jackson, what are your thoughts on this?
I just want to give a moment of silence to the final brain cells of the people who thought this would be a good matchup right here. So I'm from Virginia, and a lot of people I know are Liberty Flames fans, and they are all, 13-0, we beat New Mexico State twice. Okay, this is going to be one of the worst games, one of the worst bowl games in a long time. You're going up against Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, and Bucky Irving. You're going to get destroyed. I think that this score is going to be 40-plus differential. I think Bo Nix is going to just start taking out his anger from those Washington games and just laying it on the Liberty Flames. And look, I'm not saying that what Jamie Chadwell has done with his team is not impressive. I think that the fact that they're able to go 13-0 with the resources that they have is very impressive thing. But they're not in the conference to be able to play against a Power 5 school like this. So yeah, my final score prediction is going to be Oregon 52, Flames 10.
I saw this sourcing around on Twitter a little bit about potentially Liberty getting in, and I kind of just thought it was rumors. I just thought it was just a joke, to be honest. Next up, we head to Jerry World in Arlington, Texas for the Cotton Bowl. Missouri's Brady Cook and Gus Johnson's favorite Maserati Mar from the Ohio State Buckeyes are playing for the Cotton Bowl. Bronwyn, you're from Texas. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I am from Texas. I'm actually very close to AT&T Stadium. Been to a couple Cotton Bowls myself. I am very excited for this matchup. Arguably one of my favorites. I mean, I'm going to say that about a lot of the games. I just love football. But this matchup in particular, it's Ohio's 2-0 in the Cotton Bowl and what they've played. Their last appearance, 2017. So they've been there. They have the experience. This is Missouri's first ever New Year's Six bowl game appearance. I mean, just look at them from last year to this year. Arguably one of the best, most improved teams in the nation. Went 6-6 last year, now 10-2 in the SEC of all conferences. It's just impressive by any means. Doesn't matter who you are, who's on your roster, who you face. That's impressive in itself. Ohio has the backup. They have the depth. They have the history there. Like I said, they've been to the Cotton Bowl before. They've been to bowl games before. They know what to expect. The jitters are out. They think they can come in and take this game, and honestly, I see them doing so. Missouri is also not completely at 100% strength, and even if they are, I think it's beautiful for them. I've rooted for them all season, but I think ultimately their underdog story is going to come to an end, and it's not going to be the game people want it to. I'm hoping to attend myself and see, and maybe it'll be a good game. Who knows? Missouri's had quite the run so far, especially with their kicker, so maybe he'll post some magic there. But it's ultimately going to be a very new matchup, not one we've seen before. So I think both teams will pull routes that they haven't seen this season, and it'll be very entertaining and just something new to the faces, especially compared to other games. So honestly, I see Ohio State taking the game with a final score of maybe like 35-24.
Well, I know you told me football's a religion in Texas, and I really think they will enjoy
Sure it is.
this matchup
It
and
is.
seeing the Buckeyes in person. Now we head to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, not to be confused with the Superdome in New Orleans, because that matchup is for the Sugar Bowl. This matchup may be one of the best bowl games aside from the playoff games, and it is between the Ole Miss Rebels and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Jackson, who do you got for this?
So I'd first like to clarify, I'm going to this game. So I'm
so
extremely
fun.
pumped to go to this game. And I think it is the perfect matchup for what was available. And, I think these two quarterbacks are definitely comparable. I think that Jackson Dart is a little bit better than Drew Aller overall, but as a whole team, Penn State is simply better. I mean, I don't think Ole Miss has ever seen a defense like this Penn State defense. They're in the SEC. They played Georgia. They played Bama. And they've lost in pretty dominant fashion to those two teams, I'd say, as to where Penn State was able to compete with teams like Ohio State and Michigan, still losing, but still keeping it pretty close. So I have to pick Penn State winning this game by multiple touchdowns just because of the strength of the defense and also the running game.
I mean, you mentioned their defense. What does your take stay the same if Penn State's defense is possibly not at full force due to the draft or such?
I think even without guys like Chop Robinson possibly, I think Penn State's defense still has the depth to take on this Ole Miss offense.
Well, it should be a great game, and I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. Next, we head to South Florida, Miami-Dade County for the Orange Bowl between the reigning national champions, Georgia Bulldogs, and the undefeated Florida State Seminoles. Bronwyn, how big is this matchup for Florida State to potentially prove themselves after what just happened?
This game is going to be huge. I think it might start off as arguably maybe one of the highest watched, viewed bowl games of the year. I mean, I don't think it'll end that way, unfortunately, and I'll get to that in a second, but Jordan Travis, I feel like, is all you have to say. If Florida would have been at full force, had their QB, I think with the change of the college football playoffs next year, you could have argued, yes, they should have made it in. They're at full strength. They went 13-0. Like I said earlier, they did the work. But not being at full strength, doesn't matter how good your backup is, and having some other injuries, they wouldn't have been pretty. So I think it's good that they made a bowl game. Georgia, though, I feel like the committee put them with Georgia to prove exactly why Florida was not put in the top 4.
I completely agree.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Georgia's 2-time national defending champions. If they weren't going to make it in because of Bama and Texas, then they were going to be put right on the outskirts and be put to Florida to show exactly why Florida wasn't put in the top 4 to kind of defend themselves. The committee built in a little cushion there for themselves, understandably so with all the flamery we've been seeing on the internet. But it's not going to be, unfortunately, I don't see it being that close of a game. Georgia has the experience, has the depth. And like I said with the Ohio State-Missouri game, very similar, although I see this game having a further gap. I see Georgia taking the game, let's say 34-10 maybe.
That's fair.
Florida's offense is just, Florida has the great wide receivers. It doesn't matter how good your wide receivers are if you do not have the quarterback to get the wide receivers the ball.
Well, everyone loves a good 5-6 matchup, and this should be really good. Next up, we have the college football playoffs. Let's start with Jim Harbaugh's Michigan Wolverines against Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide in Pasadena, California. Jackson, who do you think will advance to the national championship?
I got 4 words for you. Hail to the victors. I think that Michigan will do it this year. I think that they're overdue for it. They've lost in the playoffs the last 2 years, and I think that this time they have the depth. McCarthy has completed 74% of his passes. That defense is amazing. They allow an average of under 10 points for their opponents and under 13 first downs. This team is insane. Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson as receivers for McCarthy. Also, you have Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards as running backs, arguably the best running duo in the entire country. They are going to take on Nick Saban, and I think they will win narrowly. That being said, though, Jalen Milroe has looked very impressive as well, and I think that they will compete, but I see a very close win for Michigan, 31-24.
Well, I am really excited for this matchup personally. Lastly, we have the Sugar Bowl with the Texas Longhorns and the Washington Huskies from Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Bronwyn, who do you see winning this matchup?
This is going to be the sweetest of all mashups, and not just because it's called the Sugar Bowl.
I like that.
said that. Yes, exactly.
That was very funny, Bronwyn.
Well, I have another joke for the fact that they're in Texas, right? Not only going to be remembering the Alamo, like we say in Texas, they're going to be remembering the Alamo Bowl from last year as they faced off against Washington and fell short 27-20 against the Huskies. And we're getting that matchup this year as both teams are at full health and clearly improved a ton over the last year. It's going to be just a game. I'm so excited for this one. Like I will certainly be yelling at my TV, especially with so many people surrounding around me. I think this is going to be It's Texas's first time in the current college football playoffs. They're going to have a statement to prove. They've done it all season. They started off with a bang, with a win over Bama. They want to continue that. However, I think Washington has the strength and they've been here before. They're looking for revenge after they lost to Bama when they last appeared, and they're going to be wanting to continue and make it to that championship. I think Washington just has the better quarterback and overall the better offensive line. Now, sure, they've looked very, very fragile against other teams, and they were very contemplating if they were even going to get in the top, like maybe 6. But when they got that second win over Oregon, it was solidified. They hushed all haters, and they were like, no, we got 2 wins over Oregon. We're going. We won our conference. Both teams won their conferences. So overall, this will be a tight matchup. And ultimately, I see Washington getting the close win of 27-24 over Texas.
If it is narrow, they will win. That's all I have to say.
I didn't see this matchup coming, and I'm really excited for it. Well, that's it for our bowl game picks. Comment below your projections for these games. For Bronwyn, Liber, and Jackson Tortone, I'm Matt Becker, and you're watching Penn State Sports Night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.